from the NewsChannel 5 network. This is Inside Workforce Development.
Hi everyone, and welcome to Inside Workforce Development. I'm Chris Cannon. Thanks for joining us today. And today we are talking about TCATs, the Tennessee College of Applied Technology. They are all across the state, and we have the two people who run that program here to talk with us today. We have James King. He is the Vice Chancellor for the TCAT system, and we have Carol Purrier, who is the Associate Vice Chancellor for Instruction and Special Projects. Thank you so much for both coming here today. We do appreciate it.
It's great to be here.
Tell us about post-secondary education. It's really a top priority for Governor Bill Haslam, and it really makes such a crucial difference in someone's life if they get that post-secondary education after high school.
And it is nice. It is. It's a crucial right now because, you know, the governor's drive to 55 to have 55% of the Tennesseans have some form of post-secondary education, certificate, associate degree, or bachelor's degree. And I think the TCATs play a crucial role in that, and it's great to be included in higher ed as a post-secondary credential because I think we're in an era right now of marketable skills. The degree for degree's sake is not as important as it once was. It's having a skill to go with it.
Sure.
And the TCATs do a great job in delivering that. And not only do we do a great job in delivering that, we're accessible across the state with 27 locations across the state. And you know, a lot of people don't realize that on the average, the TCATs serve about 30,000 students.
Wow, that's
across the state. You know, that's a large college when it comes down to it. And the other component, Chris, I think, is that it changes lives quicker. You know, when you've got programs that go from 7 weeks truck driving with high placement and high wage to within 18 months, you can get a livable wage job. And so I think you can see changing lives quicker that way than any other form of higher education.
And when we think of higher education, a lot of people automatically think of that four-year college. Everybody has to go to college, but really that's just not the case because those trades, those skilled trades are so important right now and so high demand that you can graduate from a TCAT and, like James said, go right to class, go right to work.
Sure, you can graduate within, as the Vice Chancellor says, sometimes within 7 weeks in truck driving or up to 18 months. You can graduate and have a great job to go to. Our placement rate is 87%, so you have a good job to go to, good wages, and can really change their lives and give them the opportunity that they just needed.
And on top of that, Chris, you know, after the recession, the manufacturing industry came back to Tennessee. Now, there are other states I think are still struggling, but in Tennessee, the manufacturing is hot with high wages. And I don't think a lot of people realize the whole environment in manufacturing is changing today. It's not your grandfather's cut and sew factory or dirty, greasy jobs. These are great jobs with high pay, with clean environments. High tech
skills.
High tech is the key right now, and we do a great job providing those skills for those people to get a job.
What kinds of programs are we talking about here? What kind of skills are you giving students?
Well, in our program, we offer about 50 different programs across the state, and they fall into 6 different categories, so to speak. We have advanced manufacturing, that will be programs like welding, machining, tool and die. Then you also have allied health programs, which will be licensed practical nurse, pharmacy, technician, dental assisting, all of those types of programs. And then you also have transportation programs, everything from aviation and avionics to commercial truck driving, diesel repair, and also automotive programs. So a huge program for us. Then you also have business and business type programs such as the computers, administrative office programs. You also have personal services such as cosmetology, aesthetics, child care. And then you also have construction. And so you have everything from drafting to actual building and construction. So there's a big variety based on what the community needs for their workforce. And so a student can choose one of those fields and be able to, in a relatively short time, and graduate debt-free to a great job.
Let's talk about time. I would assume that different programs take a different amount of time to complete. And do you get a certification, a certificate, I guess, a certificate program?
You know, most of our programs, we have a diploma program, which is the full length of the program. Just your ending point. But in many programs, you have a stackable credential that's somewhere along the way that if you drop out and there may be a particular job, every certificate level has a particular job attached to it. And so we do not train you for the sake of training you. We want you to go to work, or we would not have 87% placement rates. You know, and on the whole, that 18 months is some of our longest programs. but you do have shorter programs. But somewhere along the way, through an automotive program, may have several different credentials along that way. But if you want to get a master ASC certification, will be the full 18 months to 2 years. So, but anywhere along the way, those other 8 credentials have a job tied to them, so a person can go to work.
Is it something that someone can do who is working already and can kind of take classes, or is it something where you need to be there during the day most of the time?
We have a lot of students that do work, but we have a model that works, and most of our students are full-time students. And the key to it, though, Chris, is if you can commit to that 18 months and commit to that model, one of the only forms of higher education that can pretty much guarantee that 82% of the students that start will finish. Very few people can say something like that, like 4 times the national average. And then when you say 82% of those that start finish, and then nearly 90% have a job in the related field. And many of those students have 3 jobs waiting for them when they get out.
One of the nice things is that we do have one program that is completely online, and that's Administrative Office Technology. So if a person was working full-time and they wanted to go to school, they would have that opportunity. But the Vice Chancellor, when he mentioned we have the 27 main campuses, we also have about 50 off-campus sites, and many of those sites also have day programs and evening programs. So there's some flexibility, but for the most part, our students go full-time, which is Monday through Friday, 6 hours a day until they get through their program. That is their job while they're in school, is to come and get all the training that they need so they're prepared for the workforce.
We want you to finish as quickly as possible because we go by the philosophy that the longer it takes you to go to school, the more likely you are to drop out. So if you're going full-time, in 18 months, finish a year long, you can go. But if you take longer, life's going to get in the way sometimes.
Sure.
But the best thing that we can tell a potential student or anyone listening is that if you will come to a technical college and you let them know what you're interested in, we can tell you when you'll start, and we can pretty much tell you when you'll graduate, which is that nice carrot that people can do anything if they have a start date and a finish date.
Sure.
And that really does work. Sometimes people will say, well, not right now, I need 6 more months to get my life in order, or they'll sign up right there and they know within that time frame they'll graduate.
What's your typical student profile? Is it someone coming straight out of high school?
No.
Not really. For years it's been that 25-year-old and above.
Okay.
And we have struggled over the years of getting that 18-year-old student. Because you still have the parents that every child needs to go to college, and you get those, they wander aimlessly for a while, or in many cases even get a degree and come back. But probably over my career, which is nearly 33 years with the TCATs, the average age has been about 27. But then next thing you know, you're going to see a 55-year-old or older in a classroom as well. But it's interesting, the Tennessee Promise is sort of changing that dynamics a bit. The first year of the Promise, we had about 22 high school students that started at the TCATs right out of high school.
Wow.
This year here, that number went to about 3,400. So all of a sudden, you start changing the dynamics a bit. You see younger faces on there. But the most important thing, out of that 2,200 that started with that first year of Promise, about 90% of those were still in school at the end of the first year.
Well, that is impressive.
Yeah.
And coming up next on Inside Workforce Development, we're going to see how these schools are in communities across the state of Tennessee and how they work so closely with the local schools in that area and those local businesses. Stay with us. We'll be right back.